Hello, good evening, and welcome to GrassChat. If you joined us last night, if you watched it last night, the first sit-down interview that we did, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for all the kind comments which appeared on that. We're straight into another one tonight, and my guest on this Friday evening, which has followed off from quite a miserable day weather-wise, is a fellow commentator of mine, and somebody who I've had some good times working with. And we hope that when all this lockdown mess is over, we can do some more again. And it's Callum Coventry. So, hello, Callum. I hope you're well this evening.
Yeah, it's difficult times at the moment. Thanks for judging my hair before we started as well. Quick warning, kids, don't leave this for too long, otherwise you're not having a very good time.
So, have you managed to obviously keep yourself busy during this difficult time? Obviously, it's not been easy all round. We've all had to make these unusual sacrifices on everyday life, but you managed to keep yourself positive, focused, and keep going.
Yeah, it's a bit hard as well at the beginning, but I'm just glad that where I work, we've actually been allowed back to start production work slowly. Hopefully within maybe the next 2 to 3 weeks now, I'll be back in week out rather than doing an odd day or two. And otherwise, it's just been doing as much workout as possible, even catching up on my racing knowledge as we speak as well. So it's, even though there isn't actually any racing, there's still a chance for me to look around and catch up with some old stuff as well, just so I can have that feel like got that buzz back for when we do actually get back racing. That's what we all want to see. And I hope everyone is actually listening to the guidelines as we speak. That's all we want to see. The better we do it, the better chance we have of getting some sort of racing in this year.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's obviously everybody's itching to get back out there, and it's made me realise anyway that how difficult it's been to try and find other things to do when we're supposed to be out racing on a weekend.
Yeah.
We, as I said at the beginning, we've actually done a bit of work together at major meetings and nationals in the past, but we still feel like don't really know a great deal about you. Obviously, apart from in a working sense at these meetings, we sort of meet each other at the commentary box, we go through the paperwork together, and then we do our own thing on the microphone, and then it's sort of we have to step back, let the next person come in, and we go off and do our own bit, enjoy the social scene and the racing, and then we come back and do it again. So very important question on this getting to know you a bit more, Callum, is it's Friday now. On odd occasions we would be in a beer tent. What would you have been drinking?
Oh, it's something which you actually have, which I want, but I know you got my Budweiser, so I think, can you send that through the computer, please?
We'd try, but I believe you're on a refreshing cup of tea tonight. So, but yeah, obviously that's another aspect of autograss life that we're all missing is the social side, and unfortunately that part of it is going to take a little longer to get back up and running than what the racing itself sounds like it may be, which is a shame. But it's the things we've got to do, obviously, in order to be able to get the sport back up and running.
That's exactly it, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's as we keep saying, it's not an easy time, not just on the race side, but in life in general. So we all obviously treat each day as it comes, do the best we can, and hopefully we will get to paddle around some muddy fields again very soon. So with that, then obviously autographs is a big part of your life, as it is mine and many other people's. But do you do anything else, or have you found new hobbies and things to do during this time?
Well, I've sort of gone back to what I did before, because my autographs, how I got into autographs was a lot different than I think most other people, to be honest. It's when I started, I was originally doing rugby with my local club down in South Wales, and someone mentioned about this autograph stock car as well racing. So I believe there was a PAC bash round in 2007, which we thought we'd come down and have a look at, see what happened. And as soon as we arrived, the first thing we seen was Class A coming over the fence with you commentating on the mic, which was not exactly a very familiar thing to see. So that was a little bit different. And then from 07, it just became like a slow pattern into going to more meetings down in South and West Wales at the time. And my father then decided to buy a little Citroen AX in 2008 done one meeting before selling it, and then went into class twos. I would have thought he would have stayed in the class until I think he realised how much bumping and banging you're going to do in that class. And then he just spent, I think it was 6 years racing classics Corsa. So yeah, we've had some up and down spells, especially the old man has. But yeah, I think it's getting back to watching everybody wrecking each other rather than us lot having to deal with a grumpy man who has his car smashed in day out. But hey, it's racing, isn't it? You've got to enjoy some part of it.
Yeah, of course, of course. So you came into the sport in the modern times then. So have you actually, apart from, I know we've done a bit on GrassChat sharing various bits and pieces, but have you looked back at any other old stuff to try and learn a bit about it, how it used to be compared to now? And
yeah, definitely. It's there's loads of stuff which are going on social media, whether it be Facebook or it be on YouTube. You know, I'm gonna find something to watch and just like see how much like the sport has changed as well over the last few years. It's like when you've done your past versus the future, isn't it? Well, I've been doing something like that, finding old races and like comparing them.
yeah,
And I don't know if it's just me, but I feel as though the racing back then seems to be much more faster and quicker than it is nowadays. I don't know whether that could be just the style of racing that we're on, but I just definitely feel it's I don't know, it's something different. When you look back at it, you gotta think to yourself now, you're seeing all of these like old legends of the sport, and I'm thinking, God, I weren't even born. So that's the
yeah.
scary part as well. And it's probably like that for you when you were in juniors, you and your brother.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, from you watching there, you mentioned about obviously the legends of the sport. Quite a lot of them came from your part of the world. There's lots of very well known, successful Welsh racers in the Class Sevens and the Specials, especially. So obviously, it's great to be able to look back on that history. So with your bit then and coming into it, were there any drivers that you saw at those first particular moments which really like they became your favourites to watch from the word go? So obviously from that first Baz round, was there any particular drivers which stood out to you as being the ones you would like to cheer on?
Well, at the time, I was actually wanting to know what on earth the numbers and the club letters meant, so that was a good start. No, but I think one driver who I think everybody's a fan favourite of would have been the Morris Minder of Chris Jones, the
Yeah,
PAC 77. That little like Nim McQueen design always had me going anytime I saw her on the track. I used to think,
yeah,
God, this is one of the most beautiful looking class threes I've ever seen in my life. And I think I managed to do a couple of meetings commentating on Chris as well. And yeah, I feel gutted though, because I came into it a little bit later into his career. Whereas if I saw him much earlier, then just to see that Morgie around the track as well, it's definitely one of the best cars I've grown up watching. The first
yeah.
name I actually remembered as well at our first race meeting. So no, it's definitely the Morgie boy who stands out for me.
Yeah, well, that's actually more of a surprise to me because normally the people who, I mean, no disrespect to Chris, but the people who usually do stand out to a first time spectator is Class Sevens and the Specials, the faster classes. They again, no disrespect to the standard classes 1 and 2, but they don't tend to catch the eye quite so quickly. But obviously, there is fantastic racing in every class, and there's some superstar drivers in every class in their own way. So going on from a spectator, you say that your dad ended up buying a car. So did you have much seat time yourself, or was it pretty much your dad behind the wheel and you as the fan?
Oh, I was definitely a fan. I'll put it this way: when my father had his class two, I was hopeless. He let me have one try I did out in a pit area down at PAC, and I quote unquote nearly flipped the damn thing. So it wasn't. I don't think I would have wanted any more driving experience in the sport. But if I could now, I probably would. But to be honest, I enjoy watching it from the box or out in spectator area.
Yeah.
You just get that buzz when you're actually watching the racing and seeing all these top ladies and juniors and all the men giving each other good races, giving the spectators their money value as well. And, you know, it's like, what we're in now, June, isn't it? I think we're getting built up for another bash round or preparation for the Nationals, which is obviously the disappointing thing given this situation. But I definitely feel, you know, I enjoy watching meetings, but to also be behind the car is something I would love to do. So if I could, then obviously I would. But for now, I think I'm going to stick. I'm going to stick in the commentary box with you for a bit.
Well, no, that's it's obviously lots of people do have the ambition to have a go at it, and some people maybe the other side of the fence is more for them than on the track. But if there was a class that you could have a go in, what would it be? Just out of interest.
Following my father's footsteps, I'd take Class 6 up. I would. I would definitely go into Class 6. One of my favourite classes as well in the sport nowadays.
Yeah, Class 6 it's spectacular in its own way. There's some fantastic driving. I mean, I've raced one Class 6, and to me it was the most terrifying car I'd ever been in. But
that seems like every class for you.
Well, it can be, but yeah, I didn't feel quite so comfortable in a Class 6. So fair play to those guys who do go out there and do it in those cars, because they are something else to drive. So yeah, you followed your dad as he progressed on, and was he fortunate enough to qualify through what is a competitive league and race at the nationals himself? Was that an ambition for him? And if so, how did he fare on that? Because obviously the nationals is that first ambition to make as a pinnacle event.
Yeah, he originally started off with PAC, and at the time you had obviously you had Nathan Rees at the club as well. And my father just usually thought as long as he can keep close to Nathan, then that'd be the best bit. Says that finishes 3/4 of a lap down, but that's another story. No, he had some interesting times switching clubs then to what was then the Wassa League with Pennow. And he had his brand new course for mid-2012. He said, no, 2015, I'm going to go for it now. I'll see if I can just get that one chance at the Nationals and top qualifier from our league at the time going into Nationals. And to be fair, he had a pretty successful Nationals right up until the third heat in Severn Valley in 2013 in the mud. I think he did a win for the final, and I think he ended up with, I think, 5th or 6th place points, so he was out just by a couple, but he enjoyed himself, he did. And then as the years go on, then you see all the newer boys coming in, and my father knew he just couldn't keep up with them, and he was getting too busy with work commitments, so we all just made the decision, something's going to happen, and my father's decided now just to become a good spectator and to try and enjoy my bit as well on commentary as well. So that's mainly the best bit about it as well. And it's like I've said as well, I haven't commentated Northgrass meeting now. It would be in 2 years. So I don't know how people would react to hearing my voice on the mic again. I don't even know if I'll be up to the same standard as what I was back then compared to now.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to come on to the commentating side in a moment, and I found that last year that over the past couple of years since I started GrassChat, I've not found the time so much to do commentating. I used to when I first started doing it, I would do every single club meeting I was at. I would go and ask if I could commentate, and that just to try and keep myself going on that and learn a bit. But then the past couple of years, I've felt that I'm a bit under par just because I've not been doing it so regularly, because I've been focusing on GrassChat and then going out and taking photos and doing videos and other bits and pieces, and then trying to raise myself. So unfortunately, the commentary side did slip on it. So I always feel grateful when I do get asked to do some events, but it's harder than you think, and you will agree with that. It's probably the most difficult job to do at a race meeting.
Well, I mean, that and trying to actually drive a car around for 5 to 6 laps, which you really love doing, especially with that 9 in the background. Considering how much time you've, been, mid to end of the field racing, isn't it?
Yeah, well, no, I mean, we would love to go back to the 9s again, but on a commentary side, it's definitely something we love doing, and we want to get back on that and keep and try, hopefully get the chance to do some more. So with commentating, then I've always documented with how I got into it, and I was 15 at the time, and I was going to be 16 on Scunny's second meeting that year. But because my brother was, I was in juniors, but because my brother was going to start in juniors that year, and we only had one car, I had to miss the first meeting, wait till I was 16, and then move up. And my dad came up to me and he says, "Would you like to have a go at commentating?" Because we only had one commentator at the time, and I thought, yeah, why not? So I gave it a go, and it sort of went from there. So how did you get into doing commentating? Obviously, you was relatively new to the sport in general. So how did it come along that you ended up picking up a microphone?
Okay, so this is where the embarrassing story comes into play. This is where now you can enjoy yourself and listen to this. So as well for all the viewers, what it was a final club meeting down in PAC. My mother was meant to actually be filming my father's races just so we could see how he was doing, and I thought I'll just start commentating on this little video, see now for my father, and they were like, "God, you got some good voice in you," and I think I was like 10 at the time. And at the time I thought, well, this could be something then. And then it was actually Gareth Jones who gave me a chance. He did down in PAC. And well, from there, I done some meetings. I can admit I wasn't really the best. Try and use nonsense censored words because I don't think you want to do any editing. But no, it was Gareth Jones who definitely gave me the head start as well in PAC. And then from there, I went through South Wales. Took a bit of a year out in 2012, done I think 1 or 2 meetings. And then I think, in my view, I was fortunate that Pennow offered me commentating when we had a massive turnout of cars from like Sturton and Cambridge and Concord, all them boys coming down to Pennow. And from there, that's where it just really kicked off. And people were saying this person should be like a commentator for Bass. And I was like, well, I appreciate it, but it's like, I'm only 13 years old. Surely you would, a 13-year-old won't be commentating Bass in his first proper year in the microphone. And I was pleasure enough to do a couple of junior meetings and then go into men's 4s and 6s in Cymru. So 2013 was definitely a highlight for me. And just getting to know everybody, some of the greats in the commentary industry. So I don't think it was until 2014 in South Wales when I had the chance to commentate with you for the first time. Yeah, which was something very different. But no, it's as my journey's gone on, you know, you've created all these friendships, all these bonds with different drivers, fellow commentators, spectators who I hope enjoy some of the commentating I've done over the years. But it's people as well need to realize that what we do is a very hard job. And for me, I'm a nervous person. Like I can do this now, I'm fine. But like nobody knows what it's like for me outside of the box because I've always struggled with self-confidence. Yeah. And for me, doing commentary, that's something because you can't see my face. You can hear me, but no one can see me apart from obviously you guys, isn't it? Yeah. But that's what gives me some bit of confidence boost, knowing that some people go out and think, yeah, he's doing a good job. So it's like I praise all spectators who either drop me a message or just say something to say well done. And that's really then what keeps me going, because otherwise I feel as though as years go on I'm going to drop down that order. And for me it's like I'd rather see some new commentators come in as well, give them a big chance as well, which is what everyone does, to be honest. So it's definitely something very interesting as well. Like for you, it must have been different as well when you've seen all these youngsters come into play as well.
Yeah, I mean, I can fully relate to the whole thing. When I first started commentating, just by the chance of my dad asking me to do it, I only did Scunny Club meetings, and I would only commentate on ladies racing. And at the time at the club meetings, we would only have a very small number of races. It'd be like one ladies class 1 race, one ladies class 2 races, and then all the other cars would be together. So I'd only get like 3 races to even get started. And then we ended up commentating on a junior racing, and then it went from there. And I sort of fell into. In fact, I think the first time I got to do a major meeting was at a Trent Baz round, and it absolutely poured it down my rain. And in the end, people were struggling to see what car was what in the mud. And then I did my class, and then I can't remember who it was who said to me, that says, well, if you can read the numbers, you might as well stay on. And it sort of went like that from there. But I can tell you with the confidence, I'm exactly the same, that I was I was very nervous doing it in case you make a mistake, in case you say something wrong, in case you say something about somebody, and then they're going to come back at you on it. So there's always a load of nerves about that. And then when you look at it, and as we say, overall, you want to put it right. And out of that commentary box, I was exactly the same. I was very shy, very quiet, very nervous about it. But then in that little box with the microphone, it seemed to bring us out of it. So yeah, it definitely helps us grow. And as you say, just getting one little message saying, yeah, you did all right there, it gives you that confidence to do a bit more. So your commentary then, it went through quite rapidly, and yeah, you got to do some major meetings, but you still say you get nervous about it, which I don't think is a bad thing, to be honest. So I think, yeah, you've got to be good about that, because it gives you a bit. But did you end up practicing in any way? Did you sort of, like, at a meeting you're going to commentate on a certain class? Did you like head to the pits, have a look at the cars, see if you can find them, try and pick out the colour of the car to match the number and things, just to help? Were there any ways you would teach yourself to make the job easier?
Something along those lines, yeah. What I would usually do is I purchase way too many DVDs of Jeff Guyot and West Country videos. What I end up tending to do is I will always buy a previous like Bass round or a UK round, and I'd be like, right, I've seen all these lot race. I look at points, and then I got thinking, right, who's in the seat now, and then how have they done so far this season? If they've got any other achievements, then obviously bring that up as well. The last thing you want to do is say something about a driver, and then there's probably going to get a message afterwards to say, oh, but why didn't you mention so and so and so and so? It's like you just want to practice and execute everything to keep everybody happy, because you obviously want everyone to see your achievements. But for me, it's like I half the time will either just do all that, or I'll just show up to the box, see my heat, and then think to myself, okay, this is going to be pretty fun. Just make sure I don't make an absolute
Mess of
it. You can see
but
how hard it is for me as well, trying not to swear here. Always like the people that know me.
As we keep saying, though, it's not an easy job, and it honestly took me years to find a way which I felt comfortable doing it. Because when I started doing it, it was quite difficult to get in at the major meetings, because we had all these real big talents of commentators. I mean, we had Steve Langley, George Capper, Kevin Herdman, Dave Walker, and many more, and obviously they were the voices that people were accustomed to. And you think, well, who's this new voice coming in? So it took me a long time to find my way and put my own way of actually bringing myself across as a commentator. But was there any fellow commentators you sort of picked up any pointers from and learned? Because I learned off everybody, and then sort of tried to take each little point and put it together to take my own spin on how I would end up doing it myself.
Yeah, for me, it's definitely got to be Dave Walker. I've always admired Dave's commentating over the years, whether it be on 5s and 7s or whether it's another class. Yeah. But he was always one, and he definitely knows this because I've spoken to him personally regarding how he's been a key figure as well since I started commentating, and how I'm ended up in this position as well. I'm obviously gutted though that Dave's hasn't done any commentating for a couple of years now, which is, I've done 2 meetings with him, and I'm obviously grateful as well. But it's just like I would rather like to commentate and learn more from him as well. And it also just depends on what class I'm doing on the weekend. It's if I look back, for example, if someone gives me, so if I do a special class, whether it be a 7s, an 8s or a 10s, I'll probably look back at videos and listen to your type of commentating and think, right, how am I going to be able to keep the crowd entertained to the same level that you would be able to do it as well? If you just want to make sure you want to keep up to the same level and pace as other commentators in your own style, but just so the spectators don't think, oh, this guy's a little bit boring, where's the original commentator and all that. And for me, it's like I've always settled in with fours and sixes, learning from Gareth as well. And I definitely see myself comfortable doing fours and sixes, as I've already previously done at national championships as well, which have been a great buzz as well.
Yeah, yeah, of course. I mean, you say you settled into four and sixes, but so do you feel more comfortable overall then talking about those two classes compared to any of the others? Or I mean, I'm sure you're happy to jump in and commentate on any class if the opportunity was there, but you do feel more at home on the fours and sixes, I suppose.
Definitely. Fours and it's like classics, obviously, with my father as well. And all of the Welsh boys at the time, Nigel Reid, Nathan, Matty Jones as well. You know, you pick up all them boys, and it was always the class that I would always come out and watch mainly at any All-Grass meeting. As soon as I hear fours and sixes on the line, but I would mainly do sixes. Fours took a while to digest, but you know, when you have a competition between like Rob Corbett, Darren Grasby, Hugh Jones and Adam Henley, you know, it's definitely something you want to be in there. I think for me as well, I try not to do 8s and 10s often, and the simple reason for that is I am nowhere near up to the standards of like you and Liam Williams, for example. I just try and keep myself away. I like know my boundaries. If I do anything else, I'm fine with that. But as long as I don't do 8s and 10s, I'm positive I will have a good meeting because I'm just saying this now. I cannot perform up to the standards of an 8 and 10s like you and Liam can do. And also, you could stop putting yourself down as well, because one thing GrassChat viewers you don't know is that Mr. Thompson here likes to put himself in a, you know, difficult situation after a meeting where he says he doesn't do well. And I think we can all agree on this now, Russ, is that you say you're commentating slips, and we just keep saying that you are the voice of 8s and 10s. And that's always shown at nationals and bash rounds, because you somehow find a way to keep everyone entertained throughout the meeting. Anytime there's, well, whether it is an 8 or a 10 or whether it's any other class on the line, apart from a class 2, which we know a lot about, or class 1.
Oh no, I appreciate the kind comments on it, but I always find that at the beginning of a meeting, the first heats, I always find myself trying to work myself into it and just get accustomed to everybody again, especially early in the year. You know, when everybody's got fancy new paint jobs and they've all changed clubs and numbers and you don't recognise who they are anymore. That's the one thing which really that catches me out, and I hate that a lot when somebody's come out with they've changed club from a number which you're familiar with for so many years. But yeah, so only a couple more bits just to ask then. So from I'm guessing it's going to be a class 4 or a 6 race, but from your commentating then, which race is the most memorable for you that you have commentated on?
Oh, sugar. You've got me now. You have. I'm there's two races. One for a funny side, and one I think just for, I will say, is now for pure excellence from the driver's perspective. My funniest is a class 6. For the simple reason that a car came over the fence. I had never commentated a class 6 rolling over a fence. And apparently, after looking back at video footage, there were a couple of swear words actually released, which someone told me, saying, this kid's just sworn now and bust the PA system. I was like, God. I thought, well, that's my commentating career over 10 years old. And then I think the best one for me was definitely the last race meeting, which I commentated on down in South Wales Nationals, doing the Class 4 final with Hugh and Adam, because I personally had Hugh down as my favourite. I honestly thought, even though Henley looked quick throughout the year, I didn't honestly think with 2 laps ago that Henley could catch Hugh up, and the way he done it. And it's the way they came over the line as well. It was like, 2009, when you look at it, Jonesy was from there, the last Welsh driver to win a national title in 40, either been going to Rob or been going to Hugh. So you think, in my view, I felt as though something's got to change here now. Would it be an English driver or an Irish driver wins it? And just seeing it as well now, them two come over the line and Henley win it, I just think this is probably the greatest race I have ever commentated on, and I felt so grateful to the South Wales League for offering me, well, late in the week to come down and do men's nationals as well. And, you know, it's like whenever we get back racing, I would love to get behind the microphone, and hopefully we can do a couple of more race meetings together, whether it be a Bass or a UK, you know, when you decide which one you want to do. I mean, hell, you may even be commentating me a little bit longer if you get Ollie behind the wheel, isn't it?
Well, there's a few more years off that yet, but yeah, no, it's good that there is a couple of races which stand out in memory. I mean, I just think going back to, I mean, from my view, last year's nationals was certainly one for me. But every nationals is a special occasion when you get to be part of it, especially behind the microphone, because you do have that important role of bringing the entertainment to the crowd, and there's no better feeling, which I'm sure you get as well, when you know you've been given a good race to talk about and just the end result of it. So yeah, it's great for it.
I just tend to find it. Sorry about that, Russ. I just tend to find it more. I will honestly admit it now. I give full respect to all the drivers who go there at any meeting, club, Bass, UK, nationals, wherever. It's down to the drivers how we can produce some good commentating as well. So I think that's one bit of applause I can give to everybody in the autocross community as well. That all your good racing has managed to produce some of the best commentating I think some people will have ever heard. So from me personally, I say thank you to all the drivers for doing what you do best, and hopefully long may continue in the future, isn't it?
Yeah, well, definitely. I mean, of course, it is the drivers who put the show on, and we are there to help broadcast that show to those who are watching and listening on the live stream. So that's one of the most frustrating things, you know, when you get a 2 or 3 car race and then they all end up spread out, and you're like, well, how do you make this interesting? It is one of our more challenging times, but somehow we get through it. But yeah, we do appreciate those big races. So obviously, then just to finish off, you would love to get back to commentating at some point in the future, which hopefully that will come along one day too. And it would be great for the drivers to continue to put that show on. But do you have any other plans for the future? Any other ambitions you want to do in the world of autographs? Or is it you want to just get back enjoying yourself and enjoying what autographs brings?
No, I'll definitely be a part of the autographs community, whether it's being at the track or it's going to be by listening to Bass FM or watching or listening any of your grass chats. I'll be there somewhere with the community. I sort of got myself involved with a couple of Americans doing NASCAR stuff as well, so it's something else for me to do. And then I'm back now with my old rugby days as well, catching up on all that old stuff. So I got my little documents ready. I know I got the early morning rugby returning, so I'm looking forward to that. But I think for myself, for the time being, I think I'm just going to find whatever's on my TV, whatever's down in the DVD case behind me, and keep myself purely entertained, just as long as I don't find a race with Russ Thompson commentating.
No.
No, I'm really joking.
But anyway, no, it's been great to speak to you, Callum, and as I say, thank you for taking your time to be a part of this. I really appreciate what you've done. Also, I do thank you as well, especially for that last South Wales Nationals, because when I did have to jump into the commentary bus, you took the role of doing the commentary on GrassChat and filming.
Oh God, don't remind me.
Well, so
don't remind me. I ended the stream. My phone died, and I ended the stream halfway through the classic final. Oh no.
I'm sure we'd appreciate some more help in the future if it comes to it. You never know. We might even do a bit of a pit walk together, and we can interview some drivers and make them feel nervous as we ask them some questions which they weren't prepared for.
That'll be when I get out of my pit. That'll be when I get out my pit and actually wake up. That's what it'll be. But no, I appreciate it, honestly, Russ. And as well, I'll just give one message out to the grass community. Just keep doing what you're doing at the moment. Keep the social distancing. The quicker we prevent this pandemic, the quicker chances are we go back to some sort of normality and hopefully we will be on a race field. Hopefully, maybe the end of the year. But as long as we just stick to the guidelines, that's all we can ask for. So, from me to everyone out there, I say thank you all.
Yeah, and we obviously express that thank you as well. So, but the biggest thank you, Callum, is to you tonight. Thank you for, as I say, taking part in this. I hope you don't get too embarrassed watching it back when it goes online later.
I listen to myself. I listen to myself enough times, Russ. I'm used to it.
It
do something.
It might go on tonight or it might go on tomorrow. It depends on how long it takes to sort out. But so that's it then. Any final words? Obviously, you've said a big thank you to everybody out there.
Well, thank you for the invitation, and diolch yn fawr everybody, to all my Welsh viewers as well. Got to give you some sort of credit. And if you haven't joined already, make sure to join Online Racing League for the weekend. We're doing national qualifiers. Be there. Quick little shout out for Hughes. Okay, cheers, Russ. Thank you very much, mate.
Thank you very much. Take care, Callum, and we'll hopefully see you in the field very soon.
We will. No start. Bye-bye.